What is up, everybody? Matt Moda here to give you my favorite NFL player prop picks. We're talking Monday Night Football between the Ravens and the Lions. Absolutely awesome game that we have on tap for Monday Night Football. Very, very excited about this one. I'm going to be backing two players total, one of which we're taking for a pretty juicy ladder. We're taking his main line, and then we're taking a couple ladder plays up above that as well. And then the other player, we're just taking their main line. We're going to talk about all that. But before we do, we unfortunately have to do a recap. Just a brutal Sunday, littered with some bad luck, littered with some bad reads. But all in all, what you need to know is that Sunday was really bad. Down 4.4 units on the Sunday slate specifically. You know, the Ladd McConkey receiving yards ladder was among the highest positive expected value that I've had. Like this line closed above 60. We got it at over 50 and a half. He didn't go over. Both Keenan and Quentin Johnson had good games. It just wasn't Ladd McConkey. Matthew Golden, in hindsight, you know, he hit his receptions prop, he hit his yards prop, and he hit his longest reception. I think I got a little bit too trigger happy wanting to back the Matthew Golden anytime touchdown, and I should have just waited to take his main line. So that one is on me. I'm certainly not complaining about it being a bad beat. CeeDee Lamb got hurt in the first quarter. Nothing you can do about that. The only thing that we did cash out was Puka, which I think he had like 13 receptions, so we could have laddered that bad boy even more. DJ Moore, 5 and 6+ receptions. He ended with 4, and he didn't have a single target, or he had one target in the first half, did not have a single reception. He ended with 4 receptions, so barely went under. And he had a bunch of carries, so they did try to get him involved. It just wasn't all through targets. And then Drake London ended with 5 receptions. So just a bad day. You know, I can sit here and talk about some bad luck, some bad reads. At the end of the day, the results are the only thing that matters, and it was really bad. Brings our results on the year to we are down about 1.9 units. So we were up heading into Sunday, and then it was just a red Sunday. The red wedding in Game of Thrones, red Sunday for us yesterday. Now, it happens. You know, unfortunately, these things are going to happen. You kind of just have to take that as what's going to happen if you're going to be just doing any betting in general. Obviously, we're hoping to have a better day. If we have a good day on Monday Night Football, we'll redeem the losses from today. I am recording this on Sunday, so if you watch it on Sunday or Monday, whatever, you kind of understand where I'm coming from. But yeah, really bad. I'm certainly not going to hide from it. It is what it is, and hopefully we'll get it back on Monday. So, anyways, let's talk about Monday. So again, the two plays that I have. The first one, I'll go over the play that we are laddering first, and it is Zay Flowers. And we're taking him on a receiving yards ladder. So what we're doing here is we're taking his main line, which you can get over 69, very nice, 69 and a half. You can actually get that at minus 110 odds at Bet 365. That is the best offered price. For whatever reason, if that's no longer available by the time you're watching this, I would still take it at minus 114. Really no issues there. But again, we're doing it over 69 and a half, very nice ladder. And then we're taking him 90 and 100 plus as well. So that's how we are playing the Zay Flowers ladder. I really like backing Zay Flowers in this one. I'm going to go through a ton of data, but I just want to mention the first website you see here, Props Madness. Really helpful player prop tool, whether you're looking at NFL currently in season, NBA season starts soon. Really helpful. I'm going to walk you through kind of how I use it, but I put a link to Props Madness in the description of the video if you want to check them out. So number one, I'm expecting the Ravens to be relatively pass happy in this one. I'm looking at the game they play. This is week 2 specifically, and this website is Fantasy Points. That's the website. This is behind a paywall, as is Props Madness. I do have a link to Props Madness. Fantasy Points is behind a paywall, so if you want to sign up. But what I'm getting at here is the neutral run rate for the Ravens last game. This was last week against the Browns, who have a really good run defense. The Ravens threw the ball 65% of the time when the game was still in a neutral score, meaning it was within 7 points. That's what the neutral means. So when it got out of hand, you know, they ran a little bit more. They ran a ton. They were up huge in that game. But I like the fact that they were pretty pass happy to start. And the reason why I think that's relevant is they're going up against a good run defense in the Lions. The Lions are a pass funnel. They've been a pass funnel ever since they've been under Dan Campbell. That's just kind of how he wants to play. You stop the run and you let teams pass on you. That is And then I should say, you stop the run so you can let your pass rush get after the quarterback. That is their philosophy. They're not saying we want to get hit on or hit on. We want to get have a lot of yards through the air. We just want to stop the run and then let our pass rush do the work. So that is how the Detroit Lions play defense. So I think the Ravens are going to be passing a ton. That's what I'm trying to get at here. And Zay Flowers has just been fantastic. You know, I like to do a strategy that I call fade recent results. Granted, I faded recent results on Ladd McConkey, on DJ Moore, and on Drake London. So not a great strat. And also through Matthew Golden, to be fair, but he actually had a good game. It's just he didn't score. But Zay Flowers has just been fantastic. Like, you look at him, he's got the 5th most receiving yards. This is not including week 3. So this is just through the first 2 weeks. 218 yards. That's fantastic. Everything about his workload is really, really good. I mean, his targets per route run is an absolutely fantastic 0.39. That is incredible. That level of targets per route run is fantastic. He's running 89% of the routes. That's fantastic. His yards per route run at 4.45. That's fantastic. That is the 4th best in the entire NFL. He's been really, really good. He's had 143 yards in week 1 on 9 targets, 7 receptions, 75 yards in week 2. So he would not have cashed any of the ladders, but he would have cashed the mainline play on 11 targets. Fantastic numbers for Zay Flowers. What I like about this matchup is the Detroit Lions play a ton of man, and defenses play a ton of man against the Ravens. So I do think that this is going to be a pretty man-heavy scheme for the Lions. As you can see, this is through the first 2 weeks. Teams average playing the highest percentage of man coverage against the Ravens at 50.9%. The team that's number 2 is the Green Bay Packers. Guess who the Packers played in week 1? The Detroit Lions. So yeah, they play a lot of man. Last year, the Lions played man at the highest rate in the NFL at 45%. This year, they're not quite playing it as much. They're still playing man coverage at the 6th highest rate in the NFL. And the reason why it's important that they're playing a lot of man coverage, because Zay Flowers has fantastic numbers against man. He has his entire career. Now, his yards per route run and his targets per route run are both really good against man and zone. So there's really no difference there. But in terms of like his grading out metrics, like the pretty advanced stuff, really, really good for Zay Flowers against man. His separation score at 391 is fantastic. His win rate at 39% is fantastic. And just compare that to his numbers against zone. Separation score is down 20 percentage points. His win rate is down 26 percentage points. So it's a pretty dramatic difference. And again, he's going to be seeing man coverage a lot. And you can actually filter this on Props Madness. So we're going to look at opposing man rate. And you can also see it on Props Madness as well. As you can see, man coverage 41% from the Detroit Lions. So they have them playing man a high percentage as well. If we look at Zay Flowers' entire career, how many times has he played a team that's played zone? Let's just call it 36% or higher. Excuse me, played man coverage. 36% of the time or higher. He has gone over 69.5 receiving yards in 5 out of 7 games. He's averaging 84 yards per game, and he's hit 100 3 times, 132, 115, 127. In this game, where he only had 12 receiving yards, guess what? He only played 20% of the snaps because it was at the end of the year, so the Ravens rested a lot of starters. You can also filter for that. So we're just filtering out his snap rate, 21% or higher, just to take out the outlier. And it's over 69.5 receiving yards in 5 of 6 games, averaging 96 receiving yards per game, and then going over 100 3 separate times. That's playing man coverage 36% of the time. If we up this number to like 39%, because that's probably what the Lions are going to play, guess what? It's over in both of them. Granted, it was against the Browns both times, so the Browns do also play a lot of man. But it's still over both times, 115, and then last week with 75. We know now the Browns defense is very good after what we saw them do to the Packers today. We're watching this. It was the Browns beat the Packers. He still had 75 receiving yards. And then you look at head-to-head. He's played the Lions once. This was his rookie year back in 2023. They played man coverage only 29% of the time, so they didn't play a ton of man in that game. But he still had 75 receiving yards. And again, this was his rookie year. So you kind of expect him to be a little bit better. Even if we take his man coverage rate, like let's just call it 25% or higher, which includes that Lions game, it's still a really good number. I mean, it's still over in 12 of 22 games, averaging 70 yards per game. And then again, let's just take out the games in which he got hurt, the outlier snap rate, just look at 21% or higher. 12 of 21 games is a pretty good hit rate. So this is all to say, I really, really, really like the matchup for Zay Flowers in this one. Again, over 69.5 receiving yards, and then a ladder at 90 and 100 plus. That is play number one. Play number two is another receiving prop, but we're going with David Montgomery, and we're taking him over 10.5 receiving yards. Now, you can get this at Bet365 at -110 odds. You can also get it at Hard Rock at -115, at Flip at -125. And then you can also get it at 12.5 as well. Obviously, I'd much rather get it at the 10.5 number. So what we're looking at for David Montgomery, we're looking at him since the beginning of last year. He has gone over 10.5 receiving yards in 12 of 17 games. So right off the bat, it's looking like a pretty good situation for David Montgomery just off of hit rate alone. Now, there were a couple times in these games. Like, let's look at the games in which he went under. Let's look at a bunch of them. So this game, 49% of the snaps, just a bad game. That one, okay, you go down as a bad game. This game, Lions won by 38. This game, Lions win by 38. This game, so this was the playoff game against the Commanders. He was coming back from an injury, and he only played 25% of the snaps. So you really can take that one out. Like, if we just take his snap rate, put it at 26%, right? That's what he's gonna play, at least 26%. Again, we want to look at only last year to this year. So the games in which he went under, guess what? Won by 31. So you can also filter that. If you just look at the win-loss margin by games they won by 30 or fewer points, and again, we only want to look at last year to this year, he's gone over in 11 of 12 games. He's averaging 28 basically receiving yards per game. That includes week one of this year. So even if you want to tell me that David Montgomery's role is going to be different, he still went over in week one. He had 4 targets. So if you're telling me 4 targets to get 11 receiving yards, I'll take that. And he played 37% of the snaps. So if we want to put his snap share at, he's not going to play 79% of the snaps. Let's put it at 40. He's going to max play 40% of the snaps. Well, he has still gone over, again, if we go back to last year, he has still gone over in all 7 games starting from last year. It's an incredible, incredible hit rate for David Montgomery. And, oh yeah, the matchup is pretty good. Jacoby Ford, 23 receiving yards, hit his over-under. James Cook, 58 receiving yards in week one, went over his over-under. Last year, the Ravens allowed the running backs. Actually, we'll look at this year. The Ravens have allowed 51.5 receiving yards per game to running backs. That's the 4th most in the entire NFL. Last year, we can look at the Ravens and how they performed in terms of receiving yardage for running backs. And as you can see, they allowed the 4th most in the entire NFL. So it's a good matchup for running back receiving props. And I just think David Montgomery's receiving prop in general is a little bit undervalued. Everybody loves Jahmyr Gibbs, and I understand why. Jahmyr Gibbs is fantastic. But even if we look at this year, in terms of the snap rate for David Montgomery, 39%, 37% of the snaps. That's fine, right? Even 40%, if we cap it at that, was still a good hit rate for David Montgomery. So yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs is going to play 56 and 66% of the snaps. That's okay. We can still get this over with David Montgomery that I really, really like. So that's all we got for Monday Night Football. It's technically 4 plays to lock in, but it's really backing 2 players. If we win every single play tomorrow, so, Zay Flowers climbs the full ladder, guess what? We'll profit 3.2 units, and we will be up on the year. Even if we don't get both ladders for Zay Flowers, we would still profit 1.5 units on the day. Wouldn't quite be up on the year, but we'd be down 0.4 units. We do a lot more towards limiting the damage from Sunday. And that's all we got. So just to confirm our plays, it's Zay Flowers, 70 plus receiving yards, -110 at Bet365, and then a 90 and 100 yard ladder as well, quarter unit on each of those. And then it's David Montgomery over 10.5 receiving yards, -110 odds at Bet365. And that's all we got. Appreciate everybody for watching. Make sure to like the video, comment, subscribe. Check out Props Madness. I kind of walked you through the different ways and different filters you can use on Props Madness. Check out, I put a link to my Tails account as well, which is just where I send every play out. And if you want to tail but don't want to watch the YouTube video, check that out. It's again, it's where I send everything out. But yeah, appreciate everybody for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Make sure to bet responsibly, and have a good one.